Hi guys, and welcome back to Petrolhead Podcasts. The last generation BMW X3 has been the benchmark compact luxury SUV for many years with a winning combination of style, performance, practicality, technology, and interior quality. I thought the car was so good that I have bought 4 different X3s of the last generation. Globally, it has been BMW's top-selling model too. Therefore, there is a lot riding on the all-new 4th generation BMW X3 that was recently introduced for the 2025 model year. With an all-new look, updated powertrains, and a much more modern interior, is it still the compact luxury SUV to beat? To find out, I will be comparing the all-new X3 xDrive 30 to 2 other top luxury SUVs in the segment. On the one hand, we have the X3's arch-rival, the ever-popular 2025 Mercedes-Benz GLC 300 4MATIC, which was fully redesigned for the 2023 model year and recently received a technology update for 2025. On the other hand, we have a vehicle that many regard as the segment benchmark in terms of style and luxury in the 2025 Genesis GV70 2.5T all-wheel drive. First of all, looking at exterior styling, the new X3 is a radical departure from the previous generation. Gone is the rounded look of the previous car, and in its place is a more chiseled and squared-off X3. The overall proportions of the car, being slightly longer, wider, and lower than the previous X3, gives it a more athletic stance than before. Up front, while the general design is good, I don't like how the headlights merge sharply into the signature BMW kidney grille, and sadly, the iconic double BMW headlights have been simplified to be just a single lens. The slats in the kidney grille that have 2 different patterns also seems a little overstyled. On the side, the clean and monolithic surfacing gives the X3 a modern and powerful appearance, while round back, the new taillights reminiscent of the ones on the 2024 BMW X5 look great, and the relocation of the number plate to the lower bumper gives the car a sportier appearance. Unfortunately, there are no longer visible exhaust pipes on the X330 model, which is a notable downgrade. Overall, the new X3 definitely looks good, with a more contemporary and sporty appearance, but some details, especially on the front end, are controversial. Moving on to the Mercedes, and the current generation GLC is a very elegant-looking SUV with great proportions and a powerful stance. Up front, the design looks cohesive and upmarket, with the large grille with the prominent Mercedes-Benz star combined with the attractive headlight design and the aggressive air curtain design. On the side, the GLC looks similar to the previous generation model, but nice refinements such as the smooth surfacing and the subtly bulged wheel arches continue the elegant theme. Round back, the slim taillights look a bit plain, but are effective. The clean and clutter-free bumper design is also good-looking, but rather conservative. Overall, the Mercedes is classy and modern feeling, if a little bland and similar to the previous generation. Lastly, the Genesis GV70 is the oldest car here, but doesn't feel it when looking at the exterior, which feels expensive and sporty. Up front, the Bentley-esque grille is slightly controversial, but the rest of the styling works well. The 2-piece headlights look distinctive and expensive, and the wide stance of the car gives it excellent road presence. On the side, the GV70 has a modern design with a distinctive shoulder line, although I am not the biggest fan of the rear 3/4 window design. Round back, the 2-piece taillights mimic the styling of the headlights and work well with the aggressive lower bumper section and large exhaust outlets. Overall, for exterior styling, it is the Genesis that is the best for me, with an expensive, sporty, and upmarket design. In second is the Mercedes, which also feels expensive and upmarket but a little generic. In last is the BMW. The incoherent front styling elements take the shine off what is generally a well-proportioned, modern, and sporty-looking SUV. Moving on to interiors, and the BMW X3 has taken a notable step backwards compared to the previous generation model. On the positive side, the new interactive ambient lighting and glass controls shared with the 5 and 7 series gives it a modern and upmarket feel, and the vehicle finally receives the BMW curved display setup with iDrive 9, which remains one of the best infotainment systems in the industry. However, the abundance of cost-cutting in the interior is unacceptable. There is no longer a cover over the wireless charging pad and central storage area, no door sill labels, no wood or metal trim on the passenger side dashboard. The door handles have been downgraded from metal to plastic. The ambient lighting strip on the rear doors has been removed, and the panoramic sunroof also no longer opens. Unfortunately, this is just a partial list of the extensive cost-cutting that has taken place. From a practicality standpoint, though, the X3 remains good, with a class-leading 67.1 cubic feet of space behind the front seats, 40.2 inches of front legroom, and 36.3 inches of rear legroom. Moving on to the Mercedes, and the GLC impresses with a modern-looking dashboard. The newly added MBU X3 system for the 2025 model year is a welcome, although subtle upgrade. The waterfall-like center console looks expensive, and the striped wood trim covering the dashboard borrowed from the S-Class gives the car an expensive feeling. The materials in general are nice, and the GLC has features not available on the X3, such as an opening sunroof, power adjustment for the front seat headrests and thigh extension, and a power adjustable steering wheel, which all combine to provide an ambience that feels more upmarket than the BMW. There are downsides, such as some of the plastic pieces feeling low quality, some of the touch controls not easy enough to use, and the build quality being slightly worse than the BMW. But overall, the Mercedes feels like a more expensive cabin than the BMW and befits the price point better. The GLC's practicality is decent, with a maximum of 56.3 cubic feet of space behind the front seats, 40.7 inches of front legroom, and 37.4 inches of rear legroom. Lastly, the Genesis GV70 has an interior that feels like it should be from a more expensive car. Again, despite the GV70 being the oldest car here, the interior materials and design still feel class-leading in many ways. The abundance of stitched surfaces, leather, metal trim, and the expansive and modern design are still very impressive 4 years after the GV70 was first introduced. In terms of technology, the GV70 is not as good as the BMW and Mercedes, with the last generation feeling gauge cluster and software, but this will be fixed for the 2026 model year. In terms of practicality, the GV70 is similar to the GLC and has 56.9 cubic feet of cargo capacity behind the front seats, 41.3 inches of front legroom, and 37.2 inches of rear legroom. In terms of interiors, it is the Genesis that wins again, with a great combination of physical buttons, upmarket design, and excellent material and build quality. In second is the Mercedes. The GLC's interior looks just as upmarket as the GV70's and has better technology, but unfortunately some of the materials are not on the same level as the Genesis. In last is the BMW. The extensive cost-cutting BMW has conducted make the X3's interior feel like a downgrade compared to the other two cars. In terms of drivetrains, the BMW X3 xDrive 30 has a revised version of the previous generation's 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged gasoline engine, now producing 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet, which are increases of 7 horsepower and 37 pound-feet compared to the previous generation. The X3's engine is paired with the same 8-speed automatic transmission as the last model and sends power through a rear-biased all-wheel drive system. In addition, the engine now is supported by a 48-volt mild hybrid system. The X3 xDrive 30 accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6 seconds and achieves a combined economy rating of 29 mpg. The X3 is optionally available with a stiffer fixed M Sport suspension or an adaptive damping setup. The Mercedes GLC300 also has a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with a 48-volt mild hybrid setup, producing an identical 255 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque as the BMW. The Mercedes is paired with a 9-speed automatic transmission and also sends power through a rear-biased all-wheel drive system. The GLC300 accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6.2 seconds and achieves a combined economy rating of 26 mpg. The GLC300 sold in North America comes standard with a fixed, non-adaptive suspension setup and is not available with the air suspension and rear-wheel steer available for other markets. The Genesis GV70 has a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. This is paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission and sends power to a rear-biased all-wheel drive system as well. The GV70 accelerates from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 6 seconds and achieves a combined economy rating of 24 mpg. The 2.5-liter GV70 is also only equipped with fixed steel suspension and not available with the electronically adjustable suspension that can scan the road ahead and adapt the shock absorbers that is available on the 3.5 V6 version. In terms of drivetrains, despite all three cars offering similar performance, the BMW stands out for achieving the best fuel economy and is available with adaptive suspension, unlike the GLC and GV70. In second place is the Mercedes, which has better fuel economy and the added benefit of 48-volt mild hybrid technology compared to the Genesis in third, which also has a very decent drivetrain. In terms of driving experience, the new X3 is a great evolution of the previous model. The same characteristics that made the previous model good, with a compliant ride, a sporty driving demeanor, and a substantial feel behind the wheel, have been retained. With the new X3, comfort and sportiness have both been improved thanks to revised suspension tuning, wider front and rear tracks, a new power steering system, and stiffer chassis mounts compared to the previous model, although given how good the previous generation's driving dynamics already were, the differences are not major. The 2-liter engine remains the benchmark in the segment, with smooth power delivery, excellent low-end torque, and is paired well with the 8-speed automatic transmission. The Mercedes GLC300 also has a great driving experience. Despite not having adaptive suspension, the fixed steel suspension strikes a good balance between comfort and sportiness, with good bump absorption, a luxurious and effortless feel, and decent agility and body control in corners. Ultimately, the engine feels a little less refined and athletic than the BMW, and the 9-speed transmission a little less decisive, but the Mercedes still drives very good for the class. Lastly, the Genesis GV70 drives well, with a comfort-oriented experience. The GV70's engine and transmission combination is less refined than the BMW and Mercedes, and does not feel like a luxury car drivetrain when compared to the other two cars. The car is also less sporty, but in return, the Genesis delivers a very comfortable ride and is a great highway cruiser. Overall, for driving experience, the BMW is slightly ahead, with the best engine and transmission combination, and a good balance between comfort and sportiness. The Mercedes is second and also balances comfort and sportiness really well, but is ultimately not as engaging as the X3. In last is the GV70. The Genesis overly focuses on comfort, and the engine is the least sophisticated of the three cars. So overall, which is the best luxury compact SUV? Personally, the best all-rounder is the Mercedes GLC300 4MATIC. The new generation GLC looks conservative, but makes up for it with a very polished driving experience and an upmarket feeling interior. In second place is the BMW X3 xDrive 30. The new X3 drives well, has an excellent engine for this class, as well as great technology. However, the interior cost-cutting and controversial new styling make it hard to conclusively recommend this model. A close third place is the Genesis GV70. It has the best styling and interior materials that make it feel more upmarket than its rivals. However, the 4-cylinder engine is not as refined as the other two, the car does not handle as well, and the interior technology is the most outdated. What do you guys think of this conclusion? And what are your thoughts on these three compact luxury SUVs? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, please like this video and subscribe to my channel to be the first to see more amazing content like this in the future. Cheers!